This is Amanda Martinez, and this is my reassessment on acceleration, velocity, and position. So the question I did was, during the annual shuffleboard competition, Renee gives her puck an initial speed of 9.32 meters per second. Once leaving her stick, the puck slows down at a rate of negative 4.06 meters per second squared. So the first thing they ask is for A, to determine the time it takes the puck to slow to a stop. So the first thing I did for this question was I got all the information that I knew and wrote it down, which was the initial velocity, acceleration, and final velocity is 0, and we're looking for change in time. So I knew that there was two formulas involving change in time, this one and then this one. And since I have all the variables that are in this formula, I decided to go with this one. So after I plugged in all my variables, I got 0 equals 9.32 meters per second plus negative 4.06 meters per second squared times delta t. And I solved for delta t by subtracting 9.32 meters per second on each side, and then I divided negative 9.32 meters per second by negative 4.06 meters per second squared, which gives you delta t equals 2.30 seconds. Then for the second part of this question, for part B, it asks you to determine the average speed and the distance. So to determine the average speed, you have to use the velocity average formula, which is velocity initial plus velocity final divided by 2. So I plugged in all of my variables into the formula, and I got 9.32 meters per second plus 0 divided by 2, which gives you the average velocity of 4.66 meters per second. Then they ask you to determine the distance in which the puck travels. So in order to do that, you have to use your velocity equals distance over time formula. And you calculated the velocity in the previous part of this question, and then you also calculated the time in part A. So this one, you just plug in your information, 4.66 meters per second for velocity and distance over 2.30 seconds for time. And then you solve for D, which you just multiply 2.30 seconds to each side, which gives you that the distance traveled by the puck was 10.718 meters.